Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you join us from today. Thank you for joining our webinar, Why Now is the Time to Save PDF Costs. My name's Beth Atwood. I'm your host for the webinar. I'm the VP of Marketing here at Nitro. Before we kick into the actual webinar, a few housekeeping points. The timing of this webinar is 30 minutes. We're very cognizant of the fact that IT management are very, very busy people. So we will do our absolute best to keep this to 30 minutes. You are muted. However, questions are more than welcome. So please feel free to drop those into the chat. We will get to as many as we can during the session. If we don't get the opportunity to answer your question, we will follow up with you afterwards. And you will also get a copy of this session after the webinar is complete. Moving on to our guests for the webinar, joining me today is Fran Meggs. Fran is our product director at Nitro, and Fran represents our PDF product line. We also have with us, and are delighted to welcome Ian Steer. Ian joins us from our valued customer, the Mace Group. We're really looking forward to speaking with Ian to understand his experience with changing PDF vendor, the benefits he felt, and of course the change management piece as well. So promises to be a really insightful webinar. So from an agenda perspective, we're going to start with Fran. Fran's going to cover the evolving IT budgets, never more evolving as I think we've seen this year and moving into next year. We're also going to talk around the context of that on the PDF budgets that you see within your own organizations, the pressure that those evolving IT budgets are placing on the PDF product line. And as I said, Ian has joined us to talk through his experience in switching PDF vendors. We'll then move into Q&A. As I said, we'll try and answer as many questions as we can. So please keep posting them in the chat and we can hopefully get to them. And with that, I'm going to pass over to Fran, who's going to talk around the evolving IT budgets. Thank you, Fran.
Thanks, Beth. And thanks very much for having me in on the session today. It's definitely very topical. Lots of stuff going on around this area that we're all feeling, and happy to share the session with Ian also. So I guess to get things kicked off quickly and in a very obvious way, to talk about something that everybody in the world is feeling, I suppose. And it's not just really about the year 2021. It would be hard to talk about it in isolation. So I suppose we should look about the before, during, and after of 2021 and how we are where we are today. I mean, nobody could argue that the last few years have been pretty extensively dramatic and changing, right the way from 2020 when we had the obvious COVID era and the pandemic and what it created as a massive impact on a complete global basis. Even before that and during that, we had European-based changes throughout the areas. I think the UK, for example, have and still have Brexit as a big part of their European dynamic. And ultimately that led to a whole year of massive disruption and really brought in the year of work from home or the remote working, which again changed a big sense of what a global industry of business and technology does and can do. And it really led then into was nearly thinking we were going to have that recovery year in 2022, but lo and behold, the perfect storm, geopolitical scenarios with obviously the devastation of what's happening in the Ukraine and Russia. That led to then obviously big impacts that we're still feeling today. We're in distribution and shipping, materials, cost of goods. And that really brought us into moving into a technical, recession at a global level. All of those things really, bring along in isolation a difficulty, but when you put them all together with what happened before and now, it is that perfect storm. It's not even just things like that. I think another big global movement is our climate change and the sense of the green energy bills and things that have to come through there. So all of these things have come together, to create a sense of so many different things with so many different pressure points. And technology has been very much in the hub of all of these things. And it's with that technology that really it's a good segue to really talk about, well, what is the effect that that has within the budgets of the era. So if we move on to that, kind of next slide, the sense of what we can talk about. We did look at this like lots of other people, and Gartner in that next slide has really shown what, we all kind of knew or know. We were always at that challenging point where spending was at a certain level. We were already in the midst of those global pandemic areas alongside the working from home. If you'll notice some of the numbers, and we're not, won't explore too many micro details, what happened even in the transition, let's say, between 2021 and 2022 this year, is that interestingly, things like the hardware and the devices that were needed were quite high in 2021. I think that was part of the work from home initiative, but then actually they're thinking this year, as we were coming into it, there would be less need, and they've actually got, if you can see there, a discounted figure on what their device management was. But in fact, if anything, that budget is something that we truly do need, because we will need the longevity of those devices. Again, software was down. Really, probably the cloud and the data center systems is where people want to go, and we can see why that's gone up in numbers. But the reality is that that is, one level of many, many levels of budgets that we need. And if we look at all the other ones, they've all gone down in 2021, and most of them are not even going up next year, other than devices have some calibration and balance. But ultimately, what this overall slide is telling us is that budgets have not been changed or been, dynamically expanded to cope with this perfect storm. So ultimately, that really does mean that we've got to the stage where everybody has to collaborate together as an industry to understand how we can do more with what we have as these budgets and constraints. So if we look at that in a new way or perspective, and within the next slide of what we want to kind of talk about, is that it is really the timing. This is the optimal time that we really do need to look at that sort of document processing, workflow management, and ultimately that PDF investment. Today, the teams are highly dispersed. Within that dispersal, it means that digital needs are increasing as the dispersion is going up. That means that we have to have productivity tools and things that are self-managing, user-friendly, highly effective, highly intuitive, because that user experience is going to mean everything. People are now in their silos of houses, apartments, hubs, and smaller micro offices where they have got to be independent and self-service driven. And as I mentioned a while ago as well, within this perfect storm is that there's a very, very heightened level of environmental awareness. Because if you think about it, environmental awareness is also about budget. Because ultimately, if we produce less and consume less, that is good for our environment, but it's good for our budgets as well, because consuming less ultimately has a cross index against what we need as a budget. So really, if you think about all of that coming together, this is what we actually need to do. The question now is to look about who you're going to go to be able to fulfill those requirements. So on the next slide, that really kind of spans this all together. And something that really is a great segue towards where we'll talk to Ian about what he's doing in that area as well. What is the ultimate timing? What is the ultimate moment now? And what are the parameters that we actually need to give to our customer base as part of being the highly effective vendor? Well, ultimately, everybody will need more within the costs and budgets we have. And I think everybody has to empathize with that. It has got to be more efficient. Being able to move from license to license and from different software deployments and configurations is really important to make that easy to do, but also easy to do on the longer term. So it's not an interrupt-driven service. It's a nearly self-service option with our customer excellence service to be able to do that easily. And that support is ever more key. When you have that isolated moment where something's not working correctly, being able to have quick, easy, friendly, and well-educated and informed service is massively important. Because ultimately, what are we all talking about in the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes? It is stress, it is anxiety, it is pressure. All of these things are human emotions that we have to work into the overall context. And that means we have to be human. That means we have to give a human experience, a human service, and that creates all these things like efficiency, sustainability, support in a way that reduces those pressure points. Mobility is a big part of that, again, because of the work from home concept and the sense of having to be able to be multi-platform, multi-device, and ultimately all of that technology has to be intuitively user-friendly. I mean, this is the contemporary needs of the industry today. And, you know, I would love to think and feel that in what we have spoken to our customer base, they see that we are trying to create that empathy and support alongside the services and technologies that we actually provide. We did a lot of surveying. We've talked to a huge amount of customers in the last few years. And I have to say, on our product side, it's never been more pronounced in terms of that the customer is first, but the customer is first with our offering being absolutely paramount to what they need. So that really means that we are probably at the height of the empathy for our industry, at the height of our expertise in terms of our software and technology. And I feel that we're at the height, you know, of our customer experience that we can give to our customer base. But of course, that's not for me to say. It's much more about you hearing a little bit more about that kind of case study with our very valued customers that we have. And I think that the Mace Group is an amazing example of what a lot of I've spoken about in the last few minutes. And I know that Ian will have a huge amount of very valuable things to say. And I think that I'm hoping you'll see the synergy with what we're talking about our industry and our product base, so that it moves quite quickly into what Ian can tell us about what their experiences have been in the industry and also with Nitro. So with that said, I'd love to pass over the mantle to Ian. Delighted that you're here, Ian. I hope things are well for you over in Mace as well. And I know there's some very interesting things. So hopefully you'll see the synergy as well, or what I spoke about what you're about to get into as well. So with that said, welcome online, and delighted to listen and hear about what you have to say today.
Thanks, Fran. Really appreciate that, and wonderful hearing what Nitro are doing, and totally agree with that from a Mace stance. So, hi everyone. I'm Ian Steer. I'm the business partner within the digital team at Mace. The Nitro team have kind of asked me to provide a bit of an overview on our transition from our previous PDF to Adobe to Nitro Pro. I was more than happy to provide a bit of an insight into our journey to where we are now. Before I talk about that, I'll just let you know a bit about Mace and what we do. So who are Mace? We're a global construction company and consultancy business, founded in 1990. Its famous projects, probably this you've heard of, like the Shard of Glass in London, the London Eye, London Cable Car, and Dubai Expo, and much more. So there's a lot of really interesting projects Mace have done and use. One of our four core business engines are develop, construct, consult, and operate. And they connect expertise across the entire property and infrastructure lifecycle to help our clients, people, and communities achieve more than they believe is possible. A bit about me. So who am I? I've been at Mace 21 years, started in 2001. I was an IT support engineer, and I've been working on that service side ever since, and that's where my role is in now. Part of the digital transformation at Mace, and so we're becoming a more data-driven company and construction company and consultancy business. I'm also the co-chair of our ED&I disability network called Enabled at Mace, which is I recently graduated on Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Employee Network Led programs. That's one of my achievements from this year. And my role within this transition for our software partner, with our software partner and internal business stakeholders, was to discover and implement a vendor to transition our PDF capabilities with minimal disruption to our colleagues. Next slide, please. Thank you. So over the years, Mace has grown across 5 main global hubs. We're in Europe, Middle East, North Africa, the Americas, Sub-Saharan Africa, and Asia Pacific, and have over 7,000 employees with continued employee growth and a turnover of 1.9 billion. Our global headquarters is based here in London, in Moorgate, and we've got other strategic hubs globally as well. Mace's key values are safety first, being a construction company, having safety at the forefront and going home safe and well. We've got client focus on delivering on our promises, creating an opportunity for our people to excel, integrity, always making sure that we're doing the right thing, and our culture respects equality, values diversity, and encourages individuality. We're driven by our purpose to refine the boundaries of ambition and its strategic priorities. These are pursue a sustainable world, committing ourselves to bigger, bolder goals that we, our clients and partners, are all part of creating a world where communities can thrive for generations to come, and grow together to empower and encourage each other and our clients and everyone we work with to embrace challenges and to look beyond the boundaries of today, and deliver distinctive value, provide results for our clients and that service excellence. And our goals drive every engine of our business, and we never stop ourselves from innovating, improving and exceeding expectations. So that's a bit about Mace on there for you. So what's the challenge? What do we need to look for a PDF editing tool other than other than Adobe to look to Nitro? Well, we've now been with Nitro since 2020, and it's been a really good journey. I think of most companies in this time, it's as Fran was saying, it's a good practice to review the applications of roadmaps and our internal requirements and costs for those applications as well. I think Adobe was previously selected as our preferred tool, but due to the rate of the expansion of our business, we needed a tool, a PDF editor that could provide to more people across the business while keeping those costs relatively low, and provide that same level of functionality for a PDF editing tool. The kind of editing that Mace people do, and my colleagues around like Microsoft applications and construction tools, and Word, Excel, PowerPoint, they're the key kind of ones, and printing to PDF as well. In terms of that, were there challenges? Yes, we did have some challenges in terms of colleagues don't like change. I think that's one of the big issues that you get across a lot of companies. So, but to ensure the implementation went well, we had to have all areas of the business covered from the different engines that we've got. We needed the training and business as usual aftercare as well. The kind of the specific areas we had to work in depth with, and Nitro provided the requirements for the different teams that we had, and kind of provided that for us. We got key areas, marketing, HR, legal, that use a lot of PDF functionality as well. And we're also looking for a tool that's also accessible for accessibility now, which is very important to Mace being a diverse company. Thank you. So the kind of the key considerations for the changing the tool over for us, I think what was critical to Mace, I think the cost savings was a big one there. Mace continued to grow. We're looking at a PDF editor that we could expand across our fleet, and increase the user account by keeping those prices low, as I've said. Product performance, making sure that we've got a core document management feature through creating and editing, converting and sharing capabilities, which Nitro does. Change management is very important. Nitro got a really good supportive team of experts to help with the tools of minimizing disruption during the transition. Sustainability is a big part of Mace, and it's got a strong alignment to reducing the global carbon footprint. And there's some figures in a couple of slides that we can show you how they've helped us out with that. The voice of the customer it's the opportunity to influence the product roadmap. Listening from the customer side, it's Nitro listen and take on board what features or updates you might require that might not be in the system currently, but they would look to help build that into the roadmap, along with their other customers that are asking maybe for anything that's needed. There are new features coming up, and listening to the customer base. Customer support team, access to learning and resources and the support tools. They held training sessions, lots of training sessions over the implementation side and the transition, which was really critical for us. And just by having those sessions, the feedback from the employees was fantastic. So just people there to listen and help out with a new tool. When you give somebody something new to use, having the training on it is critical so they can understand how to use it again, and then you get less issues down the line because people know how to do their day-to-day jobs. And the accessibility criteria as well. It's key accessibilities to ensure there's no barriers for anyone for any specific requirements. I think Nitro provides features within its tool for like visually impaired, screen readers, and I'm sure there's lots more to come in that area as well. Slide, please. So the solution, Mace have got a long-standing partnership with CDW, who helped to identify the best PDF vendors to look at, and the goals of our business were providing an alternative to Adobe around the significant cost savings per user. You can see Leon's quote there, how he's helped forge a partnership with Nitro and put Nitro forward to test. What happened when we went to implement it was that Nitro provided us some temporary licenses and for our UATs to gather feedback before making the change. So that was really critical for us just to test that system fully. So what happened after the testing? We adopted Nitro in 2020 and initially launched it to 340 users with an additional 1,100 users onboarded since then. So a big uptake in 2021. And we've got the key groups of users that are using it across the business. But again, it's around marketing, HR, legal, but a lot more project managers and tools, part of our digital tools that we provide out to our employees. Nitro meets that kind of core editing capability, which we really need. And it's required by the users to make sure that we've got a productive use of the tool. Do we still need Adobe? Yes, we do in some points, but minimal subset of users remain on that system. It's something that because they need for specialized PDF editors and niche requirements around like CAD drawings and plans that have lots of layers and things. So there's a small need for that, but Nitro covers the biggest percentage of our user base, and it's good. Next slide, please. So the solution, what were our key benefits of making that switch to Nitro? I think again that the cost savings, expansion to more users overall, and providing that reduced cost per user. The pricing model that Nitro provides allows us a significant decrease in the cost per user base to launch, allowing us to launch Nitro to more employees in our business. The scalability has been great. It's flexible to accommodate rapid growth when needed on our license usage. It's easy for our technical team to package up and deploy as well via our software center that we're using currently. We've got collaborative change management as well. So Nitro is a highly supportive team of experts in change management and plan minimize disruption in moving our users across to the new platform, which was fantastic. It's a strong product to performance, so it's got robust features in it, and it's got a good user interface as well that a lot of people get used to very quickly. The editing functionality within it and the capabilities matched our PDF conversions for other tools that we were using within like Microsoft Office. The ease of use is very good, and yeah, I swapped over to it from Adobe and picked it up within 10 minutes. It's really good. The technical partnership side, we've got looking at the ability to influence the product roadmap through ongoing feedback. The Nitro team will work with you, they will listen to you, and anything you need their support on, they're there for you. And I think that made the customer success side, if we look at that with the partnership that we've got now with Nitro experts and our account managers and the customer support team, it'll continue to drive that relationship between Mace and Nitro. If there's anything extra that you need, the Nitro team will be there to help you out. And they're only a call, email away, and they're constantly in contact with you. There's the accessibility criteria, so it's a big practice for Mace to ensure that we've got no barriers on any of our software. So for using Nitro applications was very important when selecting that tool, and me as a co-chair of our disability network. Global sustainability as well. There's a strong alignment to Mace's goals to help reduce our carbon footprint with visibility we can see through Nitro analytics that are provided. So if I need to see anything in terms of like the carbon footprint, we can look at that as part of that that's provided through Nitro. And our sustainability team have been really closely looking at these with us as well, with other providers as well. So that's really helped having that information to hand when we need it towards our larger carbon targets. So as I said a little while ago, we had the information around kind of some of the stats that we've got now. So our user account has actually now grown to 1,600 people on Nitro Pro, and the adoption continues over that. So that's kind of seen a 9% increase on that. 38 documents are open per Mace users per week in Nitro Pro, and spending 3 hours per week using the tool as well. So you can just see how that's grown compared to Adobe as well. Nitro provides key stats for creating new PDFs and being able to edit the documents, as you can see how many are being edited on that as well. There were 2 million non-reader actions completed also on that. There's lots of the business who don't need a full signature. So from a signature side, there's lots of people who don't need the full sign experience at the moment, but there's the quick sign feature which I use constantly as well. So which has been really handy in that. And it's sustainable. Sustainable is looking at Nitro saved there with us 48 trees, 51 million BTUs of energy saved, and 36,000 pounds of carbon emissions saved as well. So the stats our sustainable team really are really interested in seeing as well. And the total percentage that Nitro has saved versus Adobe per license was around 63% on the cost. So really good there. Thank you. So just a bit of a reflection on our journey and over the time. So whilst IT budgets are under significant cost refinements, as Fran was saying there, and restrictions, it doesn't mean that you can't compromise. That you need to compromise using your best technology solutions to achieve your digital transformation goals. Our research and first-hand experience at Mace has confirmed that Nitro provides an overwhelming number of benefits to the partnering with them. From sustainable cost savings and from substantial cost savings to customer-centric approach, among others, it's been really good. If you're looking for a PDF vendor that can help you achieve your productivity goals and gaining more and spending less with them, working day by day and through your journey, I would definitely recommend Nitro as an alternative because it's been really good for Mace and it does a fantastic job. So thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, and hopefully that's really helped our listeners as they also look at their PDF vendor and decide to make a switch. Super helpful. Thank you. Thanks, Fran, as well. So we do have a little bit of time for questions. As we said before, if we don't get to your question, please don't worry. We will reach out to you with answers to follow up. But I have a couple of questions here. The first one for Ian. And the question is, can you tell us about any unexpected changes that occurred during the transition and how you handled them?
Yeah, I think so. Through the transition, as I said, it was really smooth. It was very easy. I think that was made best by having first of all the licenses. We could test it. We could look to work with our stakeholders and key users in the business who used like the other tools a lot, and moving people over to that was where the challenge comes from, the adoption side. I think the challenge was the UI was slightly different, so that took a little bit more time for people to get used to. Some people got it straight away, but others it just took a bit of time to know where things were, what button does what settings do we need to change. And I think that was probably one of the only small challenges I would say that we had on that side. The rest of it's very smooth, and it was again by providing the bubble of support, the customer service that Nitro provide. again, it was very minimal because anybody could just have a session with the team. Even the team would go to work directly with the business and help people on an individual basis. It was that good.
Oh, that's really great to hear. Thank you, Ian. And another one for you, Ian. You're the popular one at the moment. What steps did you take internally to organise approval for the change, and how difficult was that?
It was all around the initial kind of change requirement of around cost levels expanding, cost per user for users, like doing the standard kind of Adobe Nitro PDF editor capabilities. So we needed to kind of really complete research first of all to make that change. I think you have to keep engaging your stakeholders. You have to get the people that use the system all the time to really test and feedback, and then go back with the answers if they've got the questions on it, and to provide them the full information around that product. Then once you've got that, we were able to then put a case towards our senior leadership team and board, who kind of saw the benefits of transitioning across to Nitro, who then kind of approved that to go forward. So that's what really kind of helped us. But it was like the kind of that you have to build that case up before, and gather your evidence in terms of what's the benefits of this change, and and how easy would it be to do as well.
I think that's really helpful. The test and the feedback is so important, isn't it, as you're working through that business case? That's great. Thank you, Ian. I think we have time for a really quick one, Fran, from you, that I can see has come in as well, which is, do your Nitro customers generally report budget changes in line with the sort of percentages that you shared at the beginning? And if not, how does it vary?
It's a good question, and I think that it is actually about the development of the relationship. In the early stages, it's there's a sense of customer and provider, but what we try to delve into very quickly is circular relationship, and I think trust is really the thing that we try to develop. And once you get to that level, then it's a collaboration. It's a collaboration to upsell, cross-sell. These are no longer sales terms. There's just it's about what do you need versus what you have and what we need to fit into that budget. And it actually makes the whole transaction so much more amenable, because transparency of the budget allows us to go back and say, right, we know what we're dealing with now, and we will try and create a configuration that works for you. So largely speaking, yes, it's all about building the relationship first, then building up the trust. And with that trust, you can then discuss real practical things on a budget level, and on the norm and on the majority of ways. That's what we strive to do, and we do succeed in building that level of relationship.
Lovely, thank you, Fran. And it certainly looks like that relationship was established well up front with the Mace Group. Ian, thank you so much again for sharing your experiences with the listeners. Thanks to everybody that's listened in. We will follow up with the recorded session, but in the meantime, feel free to connect with us if we didn't answer your question, or if you do want to ask anything else on a one-to-one basis, we'll be happy to speak with you. Thanks, Fran. Thanks, Ian. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.